Morning, everybody. It is 8:10 a.m. It is August 8th. Welcome to my channel. Now, yesterday, okay, let's talk about yesterday. Yesterday was wild. Yesterday was wild, okay? And if you did watch my scenarios, if you did watch my review of the expected move indicator that I run every week, okay, and I share it on my Discord, right? If you watched the stream yesterday, you would have knew what I was looking at in the NASDAQ. Okay. I mentioned pre-market that the QQQ was over the expected move for this week. And I said, caution, caution, right? Apple was way over its expected move. Other stocks hit it as well. And I said, I wanted to short if there was initial price action that went higher and internals were showing what was under the hood. Well, I got them all. Okay. Now, unfortunately, when I was about to start updating my channel, I shorted the SPY. Got a lot of excursion. And I was like, this is awesome, working out beautiful. My setup, I'm shorting the SPY, which was relatively weak at the time. And I don't know what happened. Some kind of food thing or something like that, where I was comfortable sitting, but basically a break even. And something happened where the market ripped up. I don't know if somebody's listening. It was kind of early on in the session. Something just whoop, like knocked me out. And I was like, you got to be kidding me. Then the SPY started to fall. And I was sitting there pissed. I'm not going to lie. I was live, but I was kind of more private live with one of my friends. And I was very pissed. Because I was like, you got to be kidding me. And the market was falling. And I'm like, I'm not going to chase this. Right? So then I switched over to the Qs. And I was like, we're still relatively strong here. I believe this is going to fall. And I waited for a while to finally get a pullback in the QQQ, and I shorted that and I wrote it down, not all the way. I wrote mine down all the way to the previous day's highs, the gap fill, and then it dumped farther. But you're never going to play it perfect. But I was so pissed from that beginning, I didn't let it affect me, and I was able to get a nice short. But I kind of just was pissed that I didn't update my channel yesterday, so I apologize for that. Right? But that's just the reality. Okay? And I used Bookmap for the first time yesterday. Actually gave me a little more confidence to short the Qs when it came up to the point. And when I was talking to my friend, like basically it was just us. I was like telling him, I need to see this, and it happened. Boom, that was it. And then I had a soft stop loss on it because internals told the story, right? In the expected move. It was perfect, basically, of what I said from the morning. Okay? You can go back yesterday and see how much I stressed the short. All right? So, without further ado, welcome to my channel. My name is Steven Gonzalez. I use market profile, volume profile to find structure in the markets along with supply and demand, gamma exposure levels, the most traded price of the year, the month, the week, and the previous day. That is my edge, okay? Along with that, I use anchored VWAPs and my trusty market internals, which shows me what's under the hood of the markets. That thing is unbelievable, okay? Because while the market is pushing up, I'm looking at internally and I'm like, this is not even strong. It's a beauty. It's a thing of beauty, okay? And then you got my trusty script that I run every weekend or Monday morning that gives me the week's, the next week's expected move, the range to the upside, to the downside, in a bunch of tickers that we all watch, okay? And that thing is a thing of beauty. I think this is my fourth week using it, and it's free if you join my Discord, okay? The thing is a thing of beauty because it gives you a little tip going, hey, Hey, we're past the expected move. Hold on here. If you go to the upside, hold on here. Probability is not in the favor of going higher. Now, can it go higher? Yes. But the probabilities of it going higher are against you because the option market prices in these moves. Okay? The option market is telling you that is our expected move to the upside. And it's uncanny. It really is uncanny. Documents knows. He just said 100%. Right? And I mentioned that ad nauseum yesterday. Okay? It's unbelievable. All right? Now, if you want to get that indicator and put it on your charts for today, join Confluence Trading, my Discord. All right? Go to the channel. All right? Let's do it. Let's just show you. Here's my Discord. You go to the channel right here. Weekly expected move for Thinkorswim. You know, there it is for this week. I run it every week. Join the Discord. Sign up. Get the free indicator. I don't know how long it's going to be free. But I will be free for a while. Okay? Feel free to use it. See it. It's crazy. It's crazy. Okay? And we'll get into all that. All right? I'm going to get into that. Documents right here. He was my friend I was talking to. He saw how I was frustrated. And he saw the patience that I waited for that short. Okay? So, oh, forgot to tell you. Subscribe. Subscribe. All right? I give you the 411 every day. At 401, I sound like an old man because I am an old man. 401, nobody knows what that is if you're probably younger, like 10 years younger than me. I give you all the information every day. All right? The market story, the leaders and the laggards, the news, the economic calendar, all that jazz. That's what documents like me to say. All right? I do it every morning. Okay? So just join me. Sign up. Set an alert. Just let me be your morning coffee, all right? Let me be your morning coffee or your tea or your water, whatever you drink, all right? Now, let's look at the futures. Today, I already don't like it, where we're at, all right? I'm already not liking where we're at, but let's look at what's moving markets, okay? We got Ethereum leading the pack, up 1.05%. Russell's up 0.68. Gold's up 0.69. Gold, I believe, broke an all-time high. Silver up 0.37. Crude's up 0.30. ES up 0.25. 10-year yields up 0.21. Nasdaq's up 0.20. Dow's up 0.19. The dollar is down 0.11. 30-year bonds being sold down 0.27. Bitcoin down 0.75. And the VIX is down 1.39%. All right. Yesterday, it was kind of crazy. It was kind of a melting lower, but I knew it was going lower. Okay. Now, let's go over to some Mag 7s here. All right. I'm expecting a little pop in Eli Lilly because the expected move for the second week in a row, it's broke. It broke the downside. Now, that was because its weight loss drug didn't stack up to Novo Nordisk's weight loss drug. Okay? That's why Novo Nordisk is up this morning. And Eli Lilly's getting pummeled. Okay, now Eli Lilly's expected move to the downside is 685.41. Yesterday it closed at 640. It's back to 652 right now. Watch this thing probably go towards that. Okay? So that is up this morning. That is not a surprise. AMD. Now check AMD is a nice holding I have, okay? And that thing dropped to 157 the other day. It's already back to 174, 175. Unbelievable. Up 1.42%. People bought that dip. Coinbase up 0.61. Nvidia's up 0.55. Apple's up 0.49. Now, is there laggards? A little bit. Netflix down 0.16. Tesla down 0.2. That's not much, all right? Now, top sectors, there's nothing to show you there. Let's look at some granular list here. I'm going to show you some granulars here. Let's look here. SoundHound up 28%. SoundHound. Expedia.com up almost 15%. Monster Energy Drinks up 7.8. Okay. Block XYZ, ticker XYZ up 7%. Gilead up 4.3. Twilio reported earnings, they're up 3.36. Team Atlassian, that's up 2.34%. Now, who's lagging today? Woo, my lord. Trade Desk, I believe, reported earnings. They are down 31%. My God. Twilio. Oh, I'm sorry. Why did I say Twilio before? Twilio's down 14.29%. I don't know. Maybe that's Twilio. Pinterest down 12.56%. All right. Let me go back to that. Did I see something wrong there? Hold on. Oh, that's Take Two, I believe. Take Two. I believe that's a gaming company. All right. So that's not Twilio. Twilio's down. All right. There's your granular list. Moving on to sectors. Leading energy up 0.47, financials up 0.39, healthcare up 0.25, semis up 0.18. All right, a lot of muted action today. There's no laggard. All right, economic counter is weak today. Volume's actually weak this morning. So I'm not expecting much today, but who knows? Trump could say something. We're gonna gloss. Look at this. Friday, Fed Muslim speaking at 10:20. That's all you got. And those Feds haven't really been moving the markets much lately. All right. Earnings, there's nothing really to talk about. All right. Let's go to some stock news. Here's the Novo Nordisk, okay? Stock gained 4.3, adding to the previous session's more than 7% gains after the weight loss pill from chief rival Eli Lilly showed less effectiveness than its blockbuster Wegovy drug. Okay. Under Armour stock slumped 13%. Pinterest stock plummeted 12%. Expedia still closed 16% after the online travel agent raised its full-year gross. Wendy's stock fell 5.1% after the fast food company cut its outlook. Block, I just talked about, rose 8.3% after the Cash App parent lifted its guidance for full-year gross profit. Taiwan Semiconductor stock rose 0.2% after the chip maker announced a 20% increase in its sales in July. Trade Desk, this is what I was talking about, stock sank 31% after the ad tech firm reported a sharp slowdown in second quarter revenue growth. Wow. All right. And moving on. We're going to talk about this news. Let's see. OpenAI launches GPT-5 as the AI industry seeks a return on investment. Let's see. Meta taps PIMCO, Blue Owl for $29 billion data center expansion project. South Korea delays decision on Google's request for map data exports. All right. Let's see. All right. I'm just trying to see here. Eli Lilly, let's see. Here we go. Got a price target cut. But like I'm saying, it's up mainly because it's past its expected move to the downside. Eli Lilly, okay? Caterpillar raises target price 408 to 388. 40net cut stock rating to hold from buy. Pinterest, Piper Center raises target price 35 from 34. Okay. What else? Juice. What do we got with the juice? Let's refresh here. Not much to talk about here. Let's see. August 8th. Nope. All right. Nothing to talk about there. All right. Now, we're going to get into our little market internal / expected move recap. All right. Let me bring up our lovely internals. It's the internals recap. Now, blood in the streets, folks. Okay? Look up here. Sector boxes, 1% down tech. Financials down 1.55. Consumer discretionary down 0.27. Communications down 0.94. Healthcare. It was blood in the streets, folks. Okay? And as this built down to the downside, this is why you move lower. Even that little pop-up, you fell right back down. Okay, route back down. Now, this is what gave me confidence when the market was rising up here. I said, "Ooh boy, this is not strong. Not strong at all." Okay, that's number one. Not strong at all. When you're down here in the 4 or 500s, you're not going to move up much. Okay, you might get a pop, but you're not going to move up much. All right. Now, if we go to this little quick chart here, okay, this is your little daily charts here. Look at that expected move. That's my indicator. Okay, and I was going, let's see here what we do. We already hit the expected move. And guess what, folks? We almost hit that expected move again this morning. Okay? That was the expected move. Kind of crazy. Now, the expected move in the SPY is 639 to the upside. Okay? This market right now is garbage where it is. In the middle of yesterday's session, pretty much. It's and the volume just fell off a cliff. So, that's the expected move. Okay? And what I wanted to see yesterday was I don't have it up on my chart anymore, but the Nasdaq hit a supply zone, and then it just fell. And it wasn't if I didn't take some off, right? So I'm gonna show you here. So I believe I got short here. Okay, I believe it was here, somewhere there. And then you could see it wasn't the easiest price action. So I just like really trailed below here. Really, like I think I took some off here. And then I said, all right, I'll be at break even. And then I was just following. Hit my target to the gap fill. And I got a little cute with my stop. I think I moved it somewhere around here or something. And it got nipped. And then it fell farther, which I had my next target was down here. But that's the breaks, right? With trading. I can't complain. It was a nice trade. Okay? It was a nice trade. Now, if we're going to go over, all right, some stocks really quick. Go to here. Let's open this up. Let's magnify here. And I'll just really quickly go over the expected moves here in some of these stocks. Okay. There's your Apple. Expected move to the upside was right there. So that's frothy. That's your Apple. Okay. I only know a couple that hit the moves here. Let's see here. Not Google. Nvidia. Nope. Eli Lilly. See, the expected move to the downside was here. It's all the way down here. I expect it to pop up today. That's why it's moving. Okay. There's a couple here. Amazon. See, Amazon hit its expected move. The expected move was 225.68. See, that hit that yesterday. See, all those come together. That's a major stock, Amazon, right? Tesla. Let's see here. We got Meta. Meta came close to the downside of his expected move, but let's get another one. AMD. That had earnings. Netflix. There's one more. Broadcom. So ticker AVGO. That hit its expected move yesterday as well. I think that's the last one that I saw that was of merit. So you have Apple, Broadcom, and Amazon all hit its expected move. Okay. All right. Why don't we get right into dailies? Right into daily charts. We'll start with your good old SPY. All right. You can see the expected move indicator on my chart here with these bubbles. It tells you last Friday's close, the range expected, and the expected move, $17.30 from Friday's close. Okay. This is what we did yesterday. Opened here. Oh my God, so strong. That's crazy. Boom. Right? It then closed here. Okay. And we're in the middle of crap. 633.78 is where we're at. 633.78. Right here. You're in the middle of yesterday. It's not the best. Okay. In the middle of yesterday. Look at that. This is futures. Ugly. Look at this. And you're right here. So look at this range. Look at this range. You're in the middle of both of those ranges. Horrible trade location. Horrible. Okay. And then here's our friendly expected move. And look where that opened. It opened on the expected move. Tried to push up. That was the trap. And then boom, all the way down to here. But closed back here. Back closed to the mid. Okay. What's crazy is, now that I'm looking at it, the NASDAQ actually closed higher than the previous day, which is insane. Okay. You would never think, oh, it would have shown a gain. Okay. Even though it was right back into the middle almost of the previous day. Okay. Now, where are we at now? 570.11. See, we're in the middle of yesterday's range, pretty much. Okay, let's look at futures. All right, futures, look. The range here, you're kind of in the middle of. And now you're above this range. Like I said, range here, in the middle. It's just not a great area. And the volume's low this morning, okay? Volume's low. All right, I'm going to skip triple-headed monster. That has not really been much of a factor at all, so I'm just skipping that for now. Okay, and we'll get into some hourly charts. So we'll go back to hourlies. Okay, and this is going to be pretty quick. I'm just going to analyze that real quick and show you guys some levels. All right, the levels to watch. Now look, where did the market, this is yesterday's real time, the black. Look where the market came right down to. The most traded price of the month. 63.36. Right there. That was your area and this anchored VWAP. Okay, right from these lows. That's been supporting the market. So the buyers from these lows are still getting paid. Okay, that's what that means. That's what that means. Now, we have a high volume node here. That is your 6406, I believe. Right here. That spot has been traded around a lot. That should act as a magnet. You also have a little high volume node here. We could do this today. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. I just want to show you why it's crap. Because look, you came up here, hit supply, traded at that 6406. Boom. Right down to where? The most traded price of the month. Came back up, and now look, you're in the middle of this high and low. That's what I'm saying. It's just not a great area to be in. Not a great area. Now, what do we have, though? That's very important. The most traded price of the week has moved. And now we have ultimate balance in your ES. Moves away from ultimate balance are very big. Okay? So now we have, what is this level here? Just to give you an exact level. 63.46 is your most traded price of the week. 63.35, we'll call it, is your most traded price of the month. I consider them together. That's ultimate balance. That is your bull bear line, folks. Above that, bias bullish. Below that, bias bearish. Okay. Moving on to NASDAQ. You can see the NASDAQ just in structure is relatively stronger. Okay, relatively stronger. So, look what the Nasdaq did. All right. So, we had a session where we just pushed up, right? And then we had that big gap up. And then it was like, oh, I'm going to try to go higher, right? Dump. Where did it dump? Right here. The most traded price of this week, right? But if you look to the left, that's a key level. Look at that resistance level right there. Look at the resistance to the left, right? Became support here, support here. Okay. Now that's the most traded 234. So 234 is your most traded price of yesterday. Okay. And we bounced and we're in the middle again. Just a crappy. Look at this trading in the overnight. That is nowhere. That is garbage. Big levels. We still have ultimate balance in your 232s. 232s. Still ultimate balance. Okay? Still ultimate balance. That's your bull bear line for your Nasdaq 232. Stay above it, you're bullish. Okay? Macro wise. Macro. Okay? That's hourly charts. Okay? That's hourly charts. All right. And again, yesterday was my first time using Bookmap. Now I know how to read Bookmap, but it is something to watch it visually. Very pleasing to the eye visually. Very pleasing to the eye. I'm going to keep testing it out and see if that becomes part of my arsenal, because I'll be honest with you, okay, I'm used to looking at the footprint chart, okay, like right here. I'm used to looking at that. Now this, don't get me wrong, gives me a lot of information here, okay, but inside these bars, I can't really see large trades per se because it's net delta. It's buys minus sells. Or sells minus, I think it's buys minus sells, right? So it only shows me the net deltas. Don't get me wrong, in time and sales I'll see a large trade, but the visual of Bookmap with these bubbles really shows you, ooh, that's a big buyer that's right there. And then you see that big buyer on the chart as a big bubble. And then you really can play with that on the chart. Pretty cool. Okay? All right. Now, let's move on to the market profile, volume profile. Like I said, I'm not a fan right now this morning of where we're at all. At all. It is not great. Okay. This is not great. So this is our market profile, volume profile analysis here. All right. Remember also what I said yesterday in the NASDAQ when I said the profile, the weekly profile. I said this auction looks complete to me. Well, that came out to be kind of true, right? So, and that's all probabilities. So, let's look at the profile for the ES. All right, look what we got. Excess to the top, value in the middle, excess to the bottom. You have a completed auction. That means our little ES is in balance. It's in balance. Okay? And what are we doing right now? What are we doing right now, right? Let's look at it. Well, yesterday's highs, yesterday's lows, overnight high. Look at that little session. Overnight highs, overnight lows. Look at that little baby session inside the prior day. And guess what? Here's your midpoint of the overnight in the most traded price. That's where you're at. And let's see, the midpoint. I'm trying to see here if it's getting cut off. It's pretty much here, the midpoint of yesterday. Okay? Ugh. But we have some levels to lean on. All right, we have some levels to lean on. A little baby session. You do have poor low here and a poor high. That means you have double top or a triple bottom at the bottom here. Let's just open this up to show you that. This is just price action for the 30-minute bars. Okay. There's your double top. There's your almost triple bottom. Begging to get broken. Begging to get broken. Okay, so what's our levels we're going to look at since we're inside yesterday? Okay. Well, what I would like to look at would be, let's look at this here. Your value areas from yesterday are way down here, so that's not going to help us. Now we do have a key level here, 63.67s. That's your most traded price, okay, of yesterday. You can see the high volume right here, okay. This right here, which includes the close, is a point that you could possibly bounce off of, okay. Then you got your overnight highs, which has a poor high. These are very key levels, okay. So you either the play really is going to be this, okay. Not a shock. This is really it for the today. All right. Now, since we're in balance, all right, probably the best moves are going to happen in this area up here or down here to stay in balance, because people think we're going to go lower, they get trapped, we go back to balance, we go back up. I don't know if we stay in balance, right? You never know that. You never know when the breakout's going to happen. All right, so it's pretty easy today. All right, I'm going to really pay attention to my rules and everything today, because I'm not liking the volume, I'm not liking anything right now, and so I have to keep that in mind. Maybe I do half risk, quarter risk, whatever I see, unless there's a undeniable setup. Okay, so price is here. So our immediate place is going to be, it'd be pull back here depending on internals. We hold that, you go long and see if you can break the poor high in the overnights, right? You got single prints from yesterday right here. You definitely can go up to that 6406, that high volume node. Okay, now if the market sells off quickly, I mean quick, down to ultimate balance into this 60.35 to 44 area, right? If we stay in balance, you got month to day view up here as well. This could be a nice bounce, retest, and just go back to the mean. That's all I'm looking at. That's all I'm interested in. Okay. Now, if the market gets a little weak, what are we looking for? Well, what I would like to see is a push up, break that overnight highs, come up, test in supply, the 6406s, try to go over, fail, retest, there's your short, and you're going to try to ride this down to where? The 63.68, right? Because that is a confluence low with the overnight lows. If you crack that, okay, in the ES, you're going to go back to ultimate balance. 63, let's call it 63.40s. It's in the middle, okay? And you might bounce or you might stay here until the weekend. If you go do this, that is very bad. I'm not sure if that's in the cards, but I don't know. Okay, I don't know. Now we could do this too, just rip down, retest, and that could be a short as well. All right, that's all I'm looking at for your ES. Now, moving on to the NASDAQ. Okay? Let's look at NASDAQ's profile. Yesterday I said it was complete. That's a big ass profile, boy. A little bit of a bullish imbalance to the profile. Okay? We're starting to collect some value, some volume up top here. Okay? So bullish imbalance, you have excess to the bottom. Ooh, wrong color I want to show you there. Excess to the bottom, and then you have this bullish imbalance. You're kind of creating volume to the top, which means a bullish imbalance. This means it's just bullishly balanced to the upside, which means you can get more upside. All right. And look, there's our highs from yesterday. Here's our lows, and you got that baby overnight session really in the middle. And this little baby, if you look at the profile here, it has a bullish imbalance as well. It looks like it wants to push up. Okay, price is right here. Now, right, so we're inside yesterday's session. Most traded price was all the way down here. We do have a demand zone right here, And we're just going to do the same thing. Mark off your overnight highs. Mark off your overnight lows, which have the close in them in this demand zone. And then we got to talk about the demand from here, right? And the most traded price of yesterday, your 234s, right there. Value area low. Okay, you got the week to date VWAP down here. And then we got to talk about yesterday's highs. Yesterday's highs up here. Okay, it's the same thing. It's just relatively stronger than the ES in structure. All right. So let's get right into scenarios. Okay, price is here, right? So if I'm going to be long, right? I think we have a poor low here. Let's break out this profile. These are just 30-minute bars, right, over the overnights. That's all it is. All right. So that's the price action. Horrible, right? You got multiple lows here. Okay. So what I would like to see is maybe break that a little bit, hold it, come back, try to break the overnight highs, which should cause some momentum to go up and try to test yesterday's highs. Maybe go into the 237 supply zone. Okay. Now, if the market was to fall quickly down here, down to the most traded price, your 234s, I want to see what it does. Now, this means to me, internals can't be that weak at this moment if it comes down here. It's got to be quick, and I want to see, okay, the market's not that weak. Who's driving the markets? Now, remember, though, again, the QQQ has hit its expected move to the upside. Okay? So did Apple. So did Amazon. So did Broadcom. Just think about that. Okay? So odds to go high today is low. Okay? Now, in this scenario, we can hold back and you could possibly get along. Those are all what I'm really looking for. Okay? But it's got to be suit what I'm talking about. Now, shorts, which I'm probably, again, leaning more on the side of. Okay? What could we do? Well, we could do this, bounce, boop, right? Break that overnight highs. Okay? Really watch it. If the internals are not strong and we come up and tap the yesterday's highs and tap that supply, fall, lower high, I'll probably like a short to go down and test the overnight lows here, 235s. 235, you're going to go to 234 to this demand zone. 234 is the most traded price of yesterday. Okay? If that fails, that could hit yesterday's lows, 233s, 233.30s. And then where? Ultimate balance, 232s. Okay? If you do one of these, you break the overnight lows. Well, I would like to maybe go into this demand, come back up to here to see if you can go full again. Okay? I don't think we're going to go and have a big up move today unless Trump says something. It's not in the cards, really. So it's going to be a bouncy day, or it's going to be a little move back down to the downside. Right? I have to see how internals shape the market. Okay, Apple's way overdone. Amazon's already hit its expected move, right? So we'll have to see what this market does. All right, that is it for me today, folks. Hope everybody enjoyed that. Now, if you did, smash the like button. That means a lot to me. All right, always doesn't hurt to smash that like button. All right. And of course, join me every day, give you the market story, give you a bunch of technical analysis, and I just gave you the long and short trade scenarios. Okay? Now, I'll keep talking about my expected move indicator. It is free. It is free. Put it on your charts. Don't just take it from me. Put it on your chart and see how it works. I'll run it again over the weekend or Monday morning and I'll share it again for free. How do you get that, right? Well, join my Discord, Confluence Trading. Go to my YouTube homepage, click on the link, sign up. Once you go there, go right down to the weekly expected move channel, click on it, open it up in Thinkorswim, put it on your charts. You could see it on your phone if you have Thinkorswim as well. Add that study on your phone. I look at it on my phone. I have it on my phone, so you can just go, oh my God, it's about to hit its expected move. All right. And in general, how do you use that expected move indicator? In general, right? Let's look at real quick let's go to the daily chart real quick. Really quick. Okay. How do we look at that? Let's look at the QQQ in here, and we'll go right now to like a 4-hour chart, and we can see, overnight action as well here. Just want to show you. Look at my indicator. That's the expected move to the upside. That green line, right? It's kind of random. Look, it's not really like it's in the middle of this bar. That's what I'm saying. Okay, it's random. 571.6. Well, guess what? That's the expected move to the upside. How do you use it? Right? So if I zoom out and you can see, here's my indicator. It shows Friday's close because we do it each week. That was Friday's close. And it tells you up here, 553.88. There's the expected move to the downside, 536. Here's the upside. Okay, let me explain real quick. This is derived from the options market. Okay? Right? So what I want to make sure you understand is 70% of the time, stocks close inside the expected range. 70%. Okay? Once you get up there, there's a 30% chance you close above it, but there's a 70% chance you close below it. That's just statistics. That's how it works. Okay? That's how it works. So if you hit this, my important part is if you hit that, that would tell me, am I really going to want to go long a stock that's over its expected move? Probably not. Okay? If it goes to the downside, am I probably going to want to go short if the stock hits the expected move? No. Odds are it's not going to go lower. Okay? That's how you use it. All right? So like I said, go to my Discord. All right? Here's my Discord. You see my live updates, a bunch of stuff here, and then boom, go to weekly expected move. There it is. Test it out. All right? But join the Discord. Go to YouTube homepage. All right? Everybody, have a great day. If I don't see you in my community, I will see you on Monday. Okay? Everybody, take it easy.